yesterday, frankly, that was a full-blown reversal. So usually, like when you start to get, some kind of bottoming pattern, you need like almost a red to green type of day. So when you get like this kind of, we were down like 2-3% by lunch. We ended up with a full-blown reversal by the end of the day. So that's actually really, really bullish. We may start to get into a little bit of a bottoming process. It doesn't mean it's going to happen like in one fell swoop. You don't always just get like a straight V. I'm guessing because of all this kind of MAs on top, we're going to get a little bit of like a back and forth and a little bit of filling going on. But overall, like the action yesterday was frankly very constructive. I mean, even though the market was down a good chunk of the day, what you really want to see, like if the market's down and you have like stocks that are leading the way, like growth stocks, then that's telling you that there's like some underlying health inside the market. So like while the market was getting smoked, you saw like a lot of these kind of growth names, these high beta names that the market really depends on, these were going up. And so it's telling you that there's still buyers left in the market. So you saw like a lot of these stocks, right? They were really cooking and booking, even though the market was meandering down and it looked like it was nasty. Like at one point, I believe yesterday, the Dow was down like 1,000 points, And so when you're down 1,000 points and you still have stocks that are like really moving around, that's telling you that, there is a subtle shift in the tape of the market. Because before, like what we were seeing was, frankly, even the days that the market was strong, or intraday when the market was strong, we were getting a little bit of a sell-off. So I think that's going to be a nice shift. Now, the plans for today, and Jordan, by the way, I never look at the US dollar, so I don't know. But I doubt it has anything to do with making trades, at least not in the stock market. A 0.8% gap. So we're going to have to let this thing come back. One thing is that we'll have to like keep an eye on. Remember that like the tape is still, even though yesterday was inherently bullish, the tape has been very weak in terms of strength. The tape has been very weak in terms of strength. So the last like so many days that we've gapped up like 0.5%, 0.5%, 1%. No, you really shouldn't, Jordan, unless you just want to be smart, but you don't want to make any money. Big difference. The tape has been weak on all these kind of gap ups, so I think, we may have to be careful. If we start to fill back and we hold, then we'll know, like, today's going to be a bullish day. All in all, like yesterday, it was a green day, but the market itself wasn't really up that much. It basically got back to even or a little bit higher, but it was a reversal candle. This is going to be a little bit hard. We've got room. We don't have any resistance till about 272, 273. Man, that's not going to be, that's not much more of a push. So we'll have to be careful. Don't chase the market up today. Look for pockets of strength, and you'll be okay. Now let's take a look at the general watch list here today. This ZM's been a daily trader for us. But we can't really long it right now because it's been, you're getting right into the double top over here. So I think, this is something you want to keep an eye on, but like it's got to pull back now for a couple days. Frankly, if you get like one big push on this today, I would actually watch for a late day fade. You might get about 5, 10, 15 points on the fade. Kind of take this thing back down into this area. Snow had an IPO out where it went from 320 back to 218. If you notice here, like what's happening is there's a bottom that's being built here. There's a bottom that's getting built. So all the dips down into kind of that 220 zone are getting bought up here. And what you're starting to see is like some really constructive price action. You got a 4% gap up today, which is not too much for a stock with this kind of volatility. But it's a little bit, I'd watch this one. If you get an intraday pullback on this, you're starting to get an overall like big base over here. At some point, if it starts to break like 247, it's going to speed up. You'll see it at 270, 280 very, very quickly. This stock is like probably pretty bloated. Like it's for a stock to IPO and already have like a $70 billion valuation is, I mean, that makes it like a pretty big company already. Like, it's a lot more fun when they're like 5 billion, 10 billion, you got all the upside. But this is a year of mega caps anyways. This last high, that really releases it, but you'll want to be in way before it. If you start to see a really strong intraday pattern set up, you'll want to preempt that level. You know, otherwise you'll be chasing this thing up quite a bit. It'd be up 10% on the day by the time it gets there. So you definitely want to do it. But I like this one a lot just because of the bottom that's building out. There's a couple big hairy butts on this one. Number one, there's a big spread on it at times. There's a lack, even though it does good volume, there's a little bit of a lack of liquidity on it. But I keep that on the list. Roku, we were cooking and booking on Roku yesterday. I sold it early, sadly enough. You got a week open on this one. The high over here is like kind of like at 184, 185. That's probably a level to watch. I think at some point, if it starts to pull back to any of these kind of levels over here, 184, 180, we got to take a shot at this one. It's breaking out to all-time highs. If you look at its weekly chart, you got yourself a really, really nice breakout. At this point, like if you're looking at like a measured move of this, you're probably going to get 220, 230, within the course of the next month or so. It's got a chance to keep going. Crowd was a big mover yesterday. We had a nice range break on this thing over 135. This was a big Momo stock, and then it had its earnings out, and it was a sell the news event. So you ended up pulling back into 20 SMA. Now you're starting to grind its way back. You finally are starting to clear out some levels. So there was a congestion zone that was happening right around that 134. Now you're starting to break over that level. This one's got a chance. Like as long as it holds over 134, then you've got room on this one probably to like 144, 145. And then as it loosens up a little bit, 153. This is probably one of the hotter charts that are out there, overall. Peloton had some news out today that Amazon's building a bike, which sounds ridiculous in itself, but you never know what's going to happen. This one's been getting sold off a little bit. It's been very strong, but one thing like I've noticed on this one in the last month is you've also had some really big, 10-point kind of down days. I think we have to be aware of two things on this. If the selling does come in, it's capable of moving like 10, 15 points down on the day because we just saw it, right? We just saw it on this particular day, and then we saw it on this particular day, and then we saw it on this particular day. So it does have the ability to do that, so we'll have to keep an eye on it for that. It is getting closer into the resistance. The last time, if you remember last week, it had the news out that Apple Watch was going to have some bike stuff, which I don't know if it really means anything. The dip got bought up really quick on that. So it ended up being a short trap. So what happens, Apple released, like, hey, we're going to do this, watch thing with some biking things. Like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Stock dipped down for 2 days, and then it ended up trapping everybody, ended up ramping 20. So there's a couple things we'll have to watch. Number one, like we do know that it can dip down, but let's watch this thing around these supports. We frankly may get an ad on this. This stock has been defying shorts for a long time. I think we'll get a play on this both ways. FSOY is opening down about 2%. We had a monster squeeze on this thing yesterday as it started to break over 2 levels of moving averages. The range on this was incredible. It was 10 points in the first 15 minutes of the market, which is really, really good. Longer term, we've got like a bottoming pattern over here. This one's got a chance. I'd say probably as long as we can hold above these MAs, we'll get this thing into 100 really, really quickly. Down 2.5 points, we need to watch for a red to green on this one. Today's going to be very tricky though because some of these stocks are opening weak, but the market is like nonstop cooking. 0.1% gap is statistically one of the toughest days to trade. If you like, for those of you guys who've been with us in the chat room for all these years, anytime you get a big gap up day, the open, that first 15, 30 minutes is very, very tricky. you're better off waiting it out a little bit or trading half size in the first 15, 30 and letting the trend set, and then you'll be able to take a little gander on it. Penn, after a big push from 52 to 77, you pulled back into the 9 EMA. This is what we'd call a trend trade. A trend trade is just, you're not getting too cute with it. When you get a big trend, or as soon as it pulls back into, one of its MAs and you get a green candle to hold, then, the trend is back and you're going to trend trade this thing back up into the highs. Lemonade, junk. I'm still waiting for the shill to go. Today's Tesla battery day. Tesla battery day. So Tuesday, it is Tuesday. Tesla battery day. There's two things that can happen on Tesla battery day. First, you're going to see a whole host of these kind of battery stocks start to go at some point. So you see this Blink is starting to go. You're going to have a couple of these other battery-related stocks. So keep Blink on your list. This LAC, they make lithium batteries. This one could be in play too. Those are the two smaller ones that got a chance to really get going. And then a lot of these EV companies, I'd keep them on the list, because you just may get some what's called some spillover into these other names. If you end up getting a decent sized spike on any of these battery names, when battery day is over, most likely we'll have a sell the news event. What sell the news event is essentially once your event or news play is over, the run-up is faded back off. The reason is that, it's been running up in relation. So if you ever see like a biotech stock, it's up 5, 6, 7 days in a row, 50%. It has this fantastic news out, and then it sells off. Why? Because it was already running in advance of the news. Shill, we've been trying this one for a couple days. We're very, very close. So this is a 15-minute chart here. You got 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. If it breaks 52.40, then I think we've got a spot on this one. Breaks 52.40, we got a spot on that one. And that one's for lighter. Workhorse is another one. I've been waiting for a short on this one. I'm curious, once this battery day is over, if all these things just start to get smoked out on a sell the news event. Now let's take a look at some gappers on here. So that's a list. Out of these, favorites, Roku Crowd, Peloton, FSLY, Penn, and Shill are the faves. Out of the small cap side, this Groge, this company, by the way, is a big, giant, probably a piece of excrement. It's probably tied to the US dollar. This thing is a tear. You've got a level here. 1 test. Hold on, let me go to an hour. At least you see it a little bit. 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests. This is it. This is nice. If it gets over this level, you're going to see probably, I would say you probably see a $1.50 pop on it really, really quickly. It's well watched, and a lot of these kind of become cult stocks. When you get a level, sometimes that you get a mix of algos, chat rooms all coming in at the same time. You can often get a big push out of them. I don't like small cap stocks, but I got alert set on this one. Just right click, set alert, you're good to go. You get a little bit of action on that bad boy. Now let's take a look at some of these earnings plays. CVNA expects record Q3 revenue. Shares surge 24%. Its old high was 236. This one's got a fairly low float on it. I would actually keep this on the watch list. Let me see what the float. Yeah, 137. I'd keep it on the watch list for now. I think if we pull on this one, we're going to have a chance. It's been known to have, so this was a 50-point day on it just a couple months ago. I think, we're up at 42 points. So it's used up a good chunk of its biggest day's range. If this thing pulls back, watch for a pullback to 920 EMA. If it starts to hold and grind, you'll get a good chance on this bad boy. GameStop. Man, I loved going to the GameStop back in the day. Blink. So this one has actually got a chance on it. You know, it is a battery company. They've been doing some stuff over here. You're remounting a couple MAs. I'd keep that on the list. So GME, Blink, not bad. I would keep those on the list. If you like small caps, they'll be fine. This VRM is going to run in sympathy. So if you see CVNA like just really going on some monster cock run, then watch this VRM. It'll move in sympathy to it. You'll get a good chance out of this one. This thing trades thin, though. It's a thin little noodle. And when you get a little thin little noodle, man, you can't get any size in it. The spread on this is often like 50 cents, 60 cents. When the spread is 50 cents, 60 cents, like you can't even buy 1,000 shares, right? You got to go in like 100 shares at a time. Scale in. If you want to play it, you can already see there's a little bit of lack of liquidity even pre-market. Orion, it's okay, like, but they're super hard to, that software is like a little bit hard to use. Like I have it, but I haven't been using it much. It's very powerful though. This EA is bottoming. It looks okay. You know, that looks like to me like more of a swing trade. Let's see if there's any good gappers left besides those. So we got CVNA, GME, Blink. I'd add these. They'll run. I ain't going to personally trade them, but I'll watch them for you guys. As you know, I'm a man of honor. No small caps for me on Tuesdays. It's the Sabbath of my people. Dun dun, junk, 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 junk. Snow get about 4%. We already got that on the list. We'll go over the favorites in a second. A bunch of guys have been asked about NNOX. You know what? This fucking thing, I saw the report come out. I tried to hit a couple orders on this thing. Couldn't get filled. I didn't get filled on this bad boy. Is the PLMR IPO today? I thought that they moved it back for some reason. Look, this one is probably going to bust loose. This, you know, these lows here. The question is like, man, these Muddy Water guys, they tag teamed this thing, Eiffel Tower style with Citron. You know, the first hit piece was put out here. You got some room. Now, a secondary hit piece here. Has it got as much fun for us? I don't know. Not to mention the borrow rate on it was like 40% in the morning. Not that I got filled anyways. Tesla, not my flavor today either. It may go up, it may go down. I don't know what to tell you on that one. It's just inconclusive to me. Sava's a big turd too. So you got multiple gaps in a row. You're getting into like a resistance spot here. To me, this looks like a short almost. Fairly soon. PayPal. And this one's a little bit under resistance. Pass. I think that Donkey Kong looks good. It's its first dip. Donkey Kong looks good. Penn looks good. Both of these are on the list. And Grouch. I keep BE too, but I think it's at the top of the Bollinger Band. I think we'll need a pullback day on this. But Grouch is getting close. You know, this thing may go right off the bat at the open. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. I'll send it to you guys. Hold on. Yeah, and then add CVNA, GME, and Blink, and we'd be good to go. I won't trade the Blink and GME most likely. No small caps on Tuesdays. You guys know the rules. Niall's a turd. FMCI turn. Yeah, OSTK, I still got that on my long-term list. We'll see what happens. It's going to go one of these days. Yeah, I want to shoot, baby. All right. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Yesterday was hot, guys. Yesterday was hot. We'll keep it going. Yesterday was caliente. That was a good day to trade. We'll see if we can keep it going. I forgot about that. No way. Fucking I. Add you to the list too. Damn. How did we miss that yesterday? You know what? On the day of its IPO, it was such a turd that I just took it off the list. Good idea. Are we out of the woods on the short side of the QQQs? Marco, you're never out of the woods. If you live in a forest, you're always in the woods, my friend. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Going once, going twice. Let's go do what we do, which is